The law of detachment, because I think it's such an important element to have in working with, that you're working with this sort of principle or this element of the laws, is when you detach, when you let go of something, you never give up your intention to have it. You always hold your intention to have whatever it is, whether it's peace of mind, whether it's intangible or it's tangible, whether it's a new house or it's peace of mind. You always hold on to your intention to have that, but you give up the way it's going to happen. Okay, so that's really what we're talking about with the law of non-attachment. You give up your attachment to how it's going to look, what that result needs to look like. If you say, I want to see all of Europe, you don't decide it has to be on this date with this plane and, you know, for this much money. You give up your attachment to all that, and you allow the result to show up in your life the most powerful way that it will. The universe will present a most amazing, wonderful way for it to show up. So giving up is a really, really powerful principle, because what we're doing is letting go from our ego mind, and we're opening up to the universal mind. Now, the first night, I think I asked you all to take a few moments every day and just gaze at the sky, or open up to the sky, look at the sky and see how vast it is, and feel the vastness of the sky. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. When you do that, you're actually transferring attention to the vastness of what you are. You are vastness. But what we do is we tend to think in terms of the detail. You know, I want this to happen, that person to call, that guy to pay me my money, so forth and so on. And we get so hooked up in the details that we forget how truly vast we are. When we get hooked up into those details, then we start feeling helpless and hopeless, and oftentimes like a victim, because we cannot control the other guy. Okay, and so we get caught up. If I say this, if I do that, then I'll be able to control the other guy. What we're doing is we're just entertaining the ego. We're going round and round in the ego, and we're keeping ourselves from actually experiencing the result we want. Because if what we're doing isn't working, as Dr. Phil would say, then let go, open to the universe, get into the vastness of who you are, the hugeness, and then you're basically surrendering that problem, that issue. And then when something comes back to you, a phone call, something shows up in your life that says, okay, now act, then act at that point. And that could mean an idea that comes to your mind that you haven't thought of before. And now call the guy. I mean, I've had publishers where I could not reach, let it go, and be in the middle of an afternoon, and it's just like, call him now. Call them, connected that moment. And I've done that many times. When that impulse comes, when that intuitive impulse comes, do it. Do it right then. So that's the universe working through us, but it works through us through non-attachment, through not deciding it has to happen today at this time, but, you know, I surrender it, but I hold on to the intention. I will have that. I choose that. And then see what happens. And when the impulse comes through, then you act. What happens is that your results get bigger. You end up with more. You end up in a much more stupendous way getting what you want. But any time we're attaching to something, a particular outcome, we're attaching because of fear. If I don't hold on to this, if I don't act every minute toward that object, then it won't happen. Think about yourself, and when you attach, and it's got to be this person, it's got to look like this, it's fear. We're believing in lack when we do that, because we're saying basically, I can't have the picture that I really want. I can't have the vast picture that I want. So I'm going to control it and make sure that guy shows up and this happens and at this place at that time. Okay, so we're actually believing in lack. And it also relates to lack relates to security. Okay, when we get into lack, it's stemming from the insecurity, actually. Lack and insecurity go right together. When we have to make something happen. So that's the ego mind. All of this is the ego mind. And the ego meaning it relates to smallness. We relate to this here, right here. This is Jean. Instead of this is Jean, This is Jean. So if I'm thinking this is Jean right here, then this is where this is good. That's going to lead to lack, insecurity, and I got to make somebody do what I want them to do. We must learn to let go. Otherwise, we're living in anxiety. And the other way it works too. If you're living in anxiety, then you haven't let go. Then you're trying to make something else your security. Most of the time, it relates to the stuff we were taught. You have to have this house, this education, this place to live, this kind of car, this everything, this amount of money in the bank, and then you will have made it. And so many people get there and go, I haven't made it. What have I made? I'm nowhere, It's just awful. Non-attachment equals wealth. Non-attachment equals wealth. And why? Because you're allowing yourself to live in the unknown. Like AC was saying earlier, somebody approached her about being on the board of directors in this particular company, and that company has the opportunity to make, what, $1.5 million next year or something like that. We think it could be way more than that, who knows? And so she's living in that unknown, saying, yeah, that looks right today, and tomorrow might be something else. Working with the law of non-attachment is recognizing the universe is a place of abundance. As I said before, every tree has millions of leaves. The tiniest acorn has a complete blueprint for the full-grown oak tree. It's incredible. We are like that. So feel the freedom of operating in such an abundant universe. Feel it. Do not take anything personally, because that gets in your way. As Don Miguel Ruiz says, people are treating you like a secondary player in their movie, in their story. So you don't have to take anything they say or do personally. Not about you. You're just a secondary player in their movie. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Why? Because forgiving releases energy. Anytime we're holding on like, I'm so mad at that person, all we do is perpetuate that same negativity in our life, and we are making our bodies a mess by doing that. So forgiveness allows you to soar in free energy. Let intuition be your guide. Always listen to that voice inside, that gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, that urge. And always live in the highest energy possible. And that means living in gratitude, living in love, living in joy, living in those kinds of energies are the way you're going to keep yourself high. We also mimic the universe when we do that. We mimic the energy of the universe. If the universe is flowing like this, and we choose peace, then we are flowing in conjunction with the universe. We are matching it. We are connecting with it. Make sense? We can only connect with it if we go to it, if we match that energy, if we move in that way. If we're in chaos and the universe is always peaceful, then we're living in the ego. Okay? And getting yourself riled is living in the ego. Letting go of judgments and criticisms. Low energy. Keep you down here. It will not help you connect at all. You will be out of touch with your intuition. I was telling somebody the other day, every time you do that, let's see, I want to go to Italy. What are the good points of going to Italy? What are the bad points of going to Italy? And if I do that checklist, I'm living in the ego. That's the logical mind working out a problem. It has its value to a point, but then if we can override the intuition when we do it that way. And some people do everything that way. I'm going to make this business decision. What are the good points? What are the negative points? We're overriding our intuition when we do that. Okay, so absolutely make an agreement with yourself. If something's not working, let go, hand it to the universe, see what happens, see what comes back, see how this works, this whole thing of non-attachment. And absolutely enjoy everything. I don't see why you can't enjoy cleaning your house, making dinner, going to the bank, writing out bills. The energy of all those things are neutral. They don't mean anything. They're just a thing to do. You can put joy with it, you can put hate with it, you can put frustration with it, anxiety, or you can just do it or not do it. Your God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is your source of happiness. It's within you. You can go within and you will feel it always. And then be willing to not know. These are the ways that you operate from that sense of non-attachment. Keep yourself open and flowing.